Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge Clint, and we probably won't have a chance to before the end of the night, so I'd love you to put your hands together for Clint, mate. Thanks very much. And in true footy coach fashion, it's the Eagles by 44 points at the Subiaco at the moment. Goody, weather's fine. No precipitation over there, Goody, either, so okay. Before I start on the thank yous, I'd like to acknowledge all the award winners up here tonight. It certainly is a players' night, I've always said that. Obviously we get a chance to get up here and speak as coach, CEO and the chairman in Glenn, but it really is a players' night and it's a celebration of the season. I'd also like to acknowledge the girls as well. I was fortunate enough to have a bit to do with them over the last couple of years, and just to see the way they play, to see the way they represent their club, and to have Daisy up here tonight as the inaugural winner. Congratulations, Daisy. And after your speech, I'm sure Goody's pleased that he's already been appointed, because if he wasn't, he was in serious danger of not getting the job. I'd like to start by just acknowledging the board has done a terrific job. So for Glenn, it's really hard to mention everyone by name, and I'll go through mainly the football department, and you'll get an idea of how much, and the players have touched on it tonight, how many people go into putting on the team on the field. So to Glenn and his board, I really thank you for the support all season in what's been an up and down season, but largely a productive season. So thanks to those guys. To Peter Jackson and all the admin crew, they're really a fantastic. The interaction we have is somewhat limited because of the distance between the admin staff and the football staff, but tonight's indicative of the professionalism that exists within the admin staff and the Peter staff over the road. So I think we should all acknowledge what they do for the football club too. Thank you. The guys touched on it before, particularly Glenn. This footy club wouldn't exist without people like AHG and all the fantastic sponsors we do have, and all the supporters and all the members and the people that make up a footy club. And the only reason we exist as players and coaches and staff is to fulfil the dreams and hopes of all those people. So thank you to everyone that contributes to the footy club, and thank you certainly to the supporters and the members and the Demon Army. That'll give me a cheer. As I said, it's really hard to go through the whole football department by name, but I'd firstly like to start with the volunteers, and I'd please just ask you to stand if you can, and I'm not going to read you all by name, but the guys that contribute week in, week out, put in their time for nothing. They include trainers, people that prepare the food, etc., etc. So they are really the lifeblood and the heart and soul of the footy team. So I'd really like to acknowledge all the volunteers and thank you for your work. To John and Kim and all the trainers and the therapists that turn up sort of during the week and week in, week out, we couldn't put a footy game on without you guys as well. The list managers are probably about to do their work, so probably unlike us, we're about to sort of help them, but largely go on holidays. But to Tide and Jason and Kelly and Tim and Darren, I think Peter acknowledged early on tonight, they've certainly done a terrific job over the last couple of years, and they're in for another really critical trade period and draft period, but I'm sure they're really pleased at some of the things they're seeing now at the football club. So to you guys, you're certainly very important to the future of the club, so thank you very much for your efforts. Just to the fitness and conditioning staff, once again, some of the boys have touched on them, but Misso was fortunate to work with Dave at Sydney, and I know how professional he is. So again, David, Rob, Alex, Sam, Joel, Steve, Pete, Charlie, Z, Bianca, Paul, Joe, they do a fantastic job and largely goes unnoticed. But as I said, most of the guys said tonight, that certainly a footy team wouldn't exist without that crew. So thanks very much to all those guys. Just to the player welfare crew of Andrew Burnsy, Dave Williams, Tammy, my wife, and Simon. I think, it's been put on the agenda this week fairly and squarely. We went through it with Mitch Clark last year, and Buddy Franklin's come out this week, and I think we like to acknowledge Buddy and the Swans tonight and hope that he's back on the field really soon, because it is an issue. And it just shows that despite what some media people think, we are human and we do have feelings as players and coaches. And it just shows you also important the welfare of players and the role that Nico and the people play in that. It's a super important role, and it's just a reminder again this week of how important it is. So thanks to you guys. To all the admin staff, Spike, Brownie, Scotty, Pete, Sean, do a fantastic job. And again, the team wouldn't be on the field without them. Particularly to Mallory, who largely goes unnoticed in the football department, and certainly helps me out no end. Has actually printed this off tonight and only reminded me that Daniel McPherson, Frosty, wasn't on last year's sheet, Frosty, so that wasn't my fault, that was Mallory's. So I'll have to thank you twice tonight. To Josh Marnie, Josh and I got a fantastic relationship, and it's just a pleasure to go to work, Josh, every day, and the discussions we have about footy and life and so forth. But you should be really proud of what you do for the footy club, and I think we really need to acknowledge your outstanding contribution, mate. Just to, we've got a couple of scouts. Georgie Stone, we've snuck in. I don't think he largely wanted to go unnoticed this year, and Adrian McCartney, Macca's brother, help us with the opposition scouting. Jimmy Plunkett, who's done a fantastic job with leading teams and will continue to be a really valuable member of the footy club. Thanks, Jimmy, for what you do for the club. It's an outstanding effort. I guess to the guys that I work closely with day in, day out, who do a fantastic job, starting with Greg Stafford. It's a really tough role being a part-time ruck coach, but coming in every week, and I know the ruckmen really value his support and guidance. I'll talk a little bit about Plappy later, but to Justin Plapp, who's our VFL coach, done a terrific job. Our development department, once again I'll acknowledge him a bit more. Brad Miller and Brett Allison, Burnsy helps out. And unfortunately, for those who don't know, we're losing Brad Miller tonight. It's his last day today, and we're really supportive. Pia is obviously up in Sydney, and we've transferred Brad to Summer Bay. He's coaching the Summer Bay Demons. So he's finally got up there. I don't think he's been that happy with the role that his wife plays and some bloke trying to cut his lunch every week. So, I don't watch the show, but Fruity tells me about the show because he's got a few girls that watch it. But so Millsy's going to go up and probably sort him out. So good luck with that, Millsy. But he's been a terrifically valuable member of the footy club, and mate, terrific having you on board, and we really wish you and your family all the best. To the guys that largely put the team on the field, and that's Jade and Frosty and Benny. They do a fantastic job. As the forwards, backs, midfield coach. A couple of the boys came with me from Sydney, and they certainly bring those really characteristics that we've thrived on up there for 8 odd years, and they do a terrific job. And to have Twig, who's a current member and been at Melbourne Footy Club and understands the Melbourne Footy Club, so for those 3 guys, they do an outstanding job and a power of work and deserve a lot of credit for what they've done. So thanks to you guys. And to Goody and Macca, you guys really drive us as coaches. It's really important to have 2 fantastic people at the footy club over the last 12 months. And not only have you driven the standards of the players, and you've heard that tonight, the acknowledgement that you guys have had from the players, but you guys have made me a better coach, over the last 12 months. And to have you 2 coming in, and certainly the club's in fantastic shape going forward, Goody, and I know with your left-hand man just sitting there, Macca, it's a great shape. So, fantastic how you've driven the footy club this year, and I wish you guys all the best, obviously, when you take over Goody at the end of next year. Just an acknowledgement, basically, for all our partners and wives and so forth. I think the players saw the passion that Tammy has for the footy club during one of the meditation sessions where she swore at the whole player group, so she never swears. But that's the passion, I guess. We as a family, when we do something, we commit to it as a family, and I think you guys understand that. And the players, partners, wives, staff, everyone. So I think we all need a big round of applause for all those guys that allow us to do what we do. To be honest with you, Jacko did a fantastic job about assessing the season, Peter, and I thank you for that, because there is a lot of noise about football. So I just really want to make a couple of comments. And I think it was really important last Sunday to finish off with a win. The players heard this the other day. It was really, really important for the footy club. I remember driving to the game before the game, and I didn't say anything to Tammy or the boys, but I sort of felt like almost the season hinged on one game. And it shouldn't have, but now that we've won, I can say it did. If we lost, I wouldn't have said that. But it was that important, I think, to the footy club, and it is a time to acknowledge the improvement that we've made, and despite all the noise that you hear from outside, there's no doubt this year's been a significant improvement to win 7 games and 77%. 2 years ago it was 2 wins and 54%. So whether we're happy with it and whether other people are happy with it in terms of the progress we're making and the speed at which we're doing it, we can certainly speed that up. But I think it's a night to acknowledge the players and their efforts and the contribution. The fact that we won last week was fantastic. So well done to the player group. I think Fruity touched on it up here tonight, just the development of the young players. So to have the 13 guys under 50 games last week against the Giants, I think there were 6 debutants playing in that particular game, just as testament to everyone and the work that everyone's done within this footy club, and to beat a team that everyone respects as an up-and-coming young team, and to do that with so many young players was also terrific. On the back of that, and again, it's been acknowledged tonight, and I'm not really one for individual awards, but I just felt Jesse's award was a really important award for the footy club, and I know that that's the way he would have taken it. As much as he would have enjoyed winning it for himself, I know he enjoyed winning it more for his teammates. And it was a really, really important award for us as a football club, as it was for Angus to finish in the top 5 as well. And it just gives a lot of credence to where we are going. So well done to those boys. I mentioned the Casey finals. Casey and the finals. That was another really significant step for us as a club. I think last year the Casey won 4 games, Fruity, and so for Plappy and all the guys that were involved in the Casey team throughout the whole year, including obviously the players that had fantastic attitudes going down there week in, week out. But the job you've done, Plappy, in order to drive that connection and drive the spirit between the two, it's chalk and cheese to what it was last year. And again, that's another indication of how far we've come as a football club. So well done to you and the team. Just finally, the coaches are really committed to get, and the football staff as best we possibly can. We're going to head off on a 3-day retreat during the week and just talk about all things football. We want to come back and become a finals team, as Peter said before. So I just give you that commitment tonight as a football club that the coaches and staff are extremely driven to succeed. And on the back of that, and I mentioned it to the players the other day, and we've touched on some of the results, as you can see on the screen tonight. Certainly we've had some fantastic results, some terrific wins, Geelong, round 1, Collingwood, etc., but there's just been too much inconsistency. So my commitment to the players that I made during the week is the same commitment I stand up here. We want a team of competitors playing in round 1 next year, and everything we will do will be designed to get a team of competitors week in, week out, and that's extremely important for us as a coaching group and as a footy club. Once again, I think that some of the messaging from the players has been fantastic, and generally at the end of the year the players and coaches are pretty tired and pretty exhausted, and it has been a pretty exhausting year. But I can guarantee there's a genuine excitement amongst the coaching group. And I've really seen a spring in the step of the boys coming in this week and doing the exit interviews, and particularly the players and a lot of the young players bouncing in to their exit interviews with their questions filled out, their sheets of paper. So I guarantee that as senior coach, I'm extremely excited about what next year brings. We've built on a foundation. We've got a foundation in place now, and we're going to work extremely hard to build on that, to make sure that you're really proud of the brand we put out next year. Just before I go on to the awards, the top 5 best and fairest, I'd also like to acknowledge Crossy and Russian. I spoke about both the boys last week and this week, so I think all the players understand how much they mean to me and how much they mean to the footy club. The one thing I would say publicly, and I said this to probably Crossy, I don't know whether I said it to Russian, but there's no such thing as a use-by date on the back of the jumper. You don't turn the jumper over and read a use-by date. And I know both the boys were keen to continue playing, and I'm sure they respect the list management decision. But they've been terrific contributors to the football club, and I'd really like to acknowledge you two guys tonight and wish you all the best and your families.